They going farther, that's right. I pray you'll be safe. Amen. Amen. A good shepherd restores souls that are broken. A good shepherd calms fears and doubts because his sheep are confident that he will not forsake them. A good shepherd not only rescues the lost sheep, but when they are hurt and broken, he will anoint them with healing when they are injured or hurting. The good shepherd leads his people to a place of goodness, mercy, and unity. The good shepherd leads the people to that place that is forever precious in the presence of God. And a good shepherd will lead his people to heaven. Again, to the people that attend this church, you can trust Brother and Sister Myers. Love your pastor. Love his family. Encourage them, support them with your presence, your giving. Work with them in every situation. And never forget to pray for them. Pastor Linder, I know this is a very special time for you, and it's a special time for us, and I'm sure that it is also for the Myers family. For a few minutes, I want to talk to you about the power of united action. In Genesis chapter 11, there's a very interesting story. It tells how the people joined together to build a city. And in that city, they joined together to build a tower. And they were hoping that the top of that tower would reach up into the heavens. Well, the Lord looked upon that, and he saw that this is not going to be a good thing for the people. So he confused their languages. However, there is an important lesson to be learned from this story. The Bible makes it very clear that these people were united in 5 areas. They had one language. They were oneness of language. They were oneness of purpose. They were oneness of passion. They were oneness of vision. They dreamed a big dream. And they believed that it could happen. And they were oneness of participation. They all got involved together. Each one used whatever skills they had to get the job accomplished. And when God observed this, he made this declaration. He said, "Nothing shall be restrained from them because the people are one." Nothing shall be restrained from them because the people are one. Even God knows that impossible things can be accomplished when the people are one. "58 years ago, I was a teenager, 19. I opened a church. There was a building there. 9 years before, there had been a little group of people, but it had all faded away, and Nobody was really going there. Nobody was interested in being there. But behind this church was a couple. He was 75 and she was 68. And they just wanted somebody to come there and open up the church. And so that's how I started. Myself and Brother and Sister Dennison. What I wish for this church is what happened to us. In 9 years, the church grew from 3 people to a record attendance of 350. And we averaged nearly 200 in Sunday school for the several years after the church got going. It happened because I found 2 people who were willing to work together. We worked together, we cleaned, we fixed the broken windows, we fixed the broken seats, we fixed the broken doors, we patched the roof, we did some painting, we did some cleaning, we cut weeds, we mowed the lawn. All of that we did together. And oftentimes I hitchhiked 35 miles one way to help them to get the church opened. I've come to tell you this afternoon, nothing is impossible when the people are one. And so I'm remembering, after a while, the 3 people became 10 people. And then the 10 became 50. And what we did, we just all dreamed a big dream. And we all got involved, and we all worked together. There is nothing restrained from the people when they work together as one. And after a while, different people started coming to the church. One of the men that came was a postmaster. And I was really happy that he came. I think part of what happened was every Monday morning, I would go to the post office at 8 o'clock when it opened. Because people said, all preachers do is preach a couple times a week and eat fried chicken on Sunday, and the rest of the time they don't do much. So I just wanted them to know that I got up on Monday morning early and went to the post office when it opened. And I sort of made friends with Bernard Wasson. He started coming to church. He came most Sundays. He didn't talk much. He never came forward. He always left when the altar call was given. He lived alone. But one day he said to me, he said, Brother Bob, could I have some time to talk to you sometime? And I said, well, yes, Bernard. I'd be happy to talk to you. But I was busy. I was a busy pastor. I was busy working. I was busy going here, going there, raising money for Sheaves for Christ and raising money for home missions and involved in camps and camp meetings and youth camps and junior camps and fellowship meetings and youth rallies and raising this and money for that and just busy. And I honestly did not get around to visiting with Bernard. So I noticed he wasn't coming as often as he was. And I said to myself, I'm going to meet with him. I'm going to talk to him. So one Monday morning, I went to the post office like I always did. He wasn't there. He was always there. He never missed work. So I asked the assistant postmaster, I said, something wrong with Bernard? And he said, well, I'm worried because he hasn't called, and he's always here at 7 o'clock to help me open at 8. And I said, okay, don't worry. I needed to talk to him anyway. I'll go over to his house and see what's going on. So I went to his house finally. And back in the day, we didn't lock doors. Where's the keys to the car? Well, they're in the car. And so I knocked on the front door screen and called his name, and I just stepped in the door and I looked in the kitchen. And he was on the floor, and he had shot himself in the head. Committed suicide. And I said to myself, Robert Rodenbush, why didn't you take time to reach out to a hurting soul? Nobody should ever be that busy. And when you're cleaning up the blood of someone you have failed to reach out to, you know you have failed. I've grieved many times over Bernard Wasson, and I've asked God numerous times to forgive me. And I told you that story because driving around in this city yesterday and today a little bit before each one of our get-togethers, there's hurting people all over the place. And you may not even realize how much they're hurting, but they are hurting. And they're just looking for a friendly face. They're looking for a smile. They're looking for somebody that will care about them. They're looking for somebody that will pray for them. They're looking for somebody who will say hello to them, shake their hand, pat them on the back, and help them find a way to have some peace in life. And that's what the church is all about. God's Spirit will draw people to you. And He will draw people to this church. But we've got to be ready and willing to take the time to reach out to anyone and everyone. That's what church is all about. So after a while, we started having a Friends Day. Once a year we would have a Friends Day. I was very, very careful to make sure that the workers who were going to go out and invite people to church were very well qualified. I wanted them to be able to represent the church in a very wonderful way. And so I knew that probably on Friends Day we would be packed out full. There would be a lot of important people there. So we sent out sometimes 25 or 30 people on Saturday before Friends Day to invite folks to come to church. We had a great music program. I always try to do my best to preach really good. And the people who were going to go out to represent the church on the Saturday before Friends Day Sunday, they had to go through some training. They had to go through some talks with me and with the leadership. So here we are on Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock. We're getting ready to go to the 5 little villages around where we lived, the neighborhoods. And I'm just getting ready to pray, and the door of the church opens, and here comes Sammy Pierce running in. He's about 11 or 12 years of age at that time. And he said, "Preacher, I'm here to go on visitation." Well, Sammy was the lead troublemaker. He said I had to call him out and set him on the front bench of the church more times than anybody else. He just thought coming to church was to talk, chew gum, blow bubbles, pass notes, write in the songbooks. He just thought that's what church was all about. And when he came bouncing through the door and said, I'm ready to go on visitation, I saw, through the window, I saw his dad pull away. And Brother Brawley, the Sunday school superintendent, said, Brother Rodenbush, I'll take him with me. I'll make sure he doesn't get in trouble. I said, well, it's your responsibility, sir. Watch him carefully. Oh, I will. So they went out. And they started knocking on doors in a little town not too far. And towards the end of the day, Brother Brawley said, well, Sammy, we've got 2 more houses to go to. And they were in kind of an affluent neighborhoods, kind of like some of these houses around here. Man, there's some nice places. Brick wraps and what have you. And so Brother Brawley said, well, Sammy, you go to that last house down there, and I'll take this one, and then we'll call it a day. So Sammy went over, and he knocked on the door. He knocked again. He knocked the 3rd time, as they told me later. Nobody came to the door, so what would most of us do? Well, okay, there's nobody home. No, not Sammy. He runs around to the back of the house. Walks up on the back porch and starts knocking on the door. And as soon as he started knocking, he heard a voice. Who's there? And he turned around, as he told us all later, he turned around and he saw this man sitting in a swing with dark glasses on and a white cane under a grape harbor. And he ran over there and he said, I'm Sammy, who are you? And he said, well, I'm Robert Huddleston. And what are you doing, Sammy? He said, well, we've got the best church, the best pastor, the best preacher. He said, we're out here knocking on doors and we're inviting people to come to our church. Tomorrow is Friends Day and everybody needs to have friends, and we would like to invite you to come to our Friends Day service. And Mr. Huddleston said, well, Sammy, I'm blind. I've been blind for a while and I don't have any way. Well, that doesn't make any difference, Mr. Huddleston. We've got vans, we've got buses, we've got people who'll come in their cars and pick you up and take you to Sunday school. You're going to love it. So he said, well, I'll be ready at 9:30. I hadn't heard any of this, and Sunday morning everything was going good. Everybody was in their place. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. The greeters, people helping people park. I mean, it was just going really smooth. And we're just getting ready to start. And here comes Sammy into the church with this blind man. And I'm thinking, what now? And instead of back in the back, he brings him all the way up to the 2nd row from the front and sits him right there. And he sits by him. The service went so good. I was so thrilled with the service. Sister Rodenbush, it's just great on the piano, and the song leaders did good, and the announcements, and it was full. The mayor was there, and a lot of dignitary type people were there. You know, as dignitary as you could be in rural southern Illinois. I mean, they were there. And so I just felt so good. I thought my sermon was pretty good too. And we're getting ready to close. And it's getting ready to have them all stand, and we're going to do our closing prayer. And I hear this something over here on this side. And this blind man, he stands up and he says, "Preacher, could I say something?" You've never met him. You don't know him. It's somebody that he brought. Sammy, the troublemaker, brought. But everybody's walking. Well, everybody's looking at me. How am I going to react to this man who's blind? "Preacher, can I say something?" Okay. So he kind of stepped out with his cane, kind of like this. He said, "Preacher, when I was a teenager in Arkansas," he said, "every Saturday night when we got off work, Me and the guys, we'd go out drinking, partying. He said, one Saturday night we were going down the street towards the beer joint, and he said, we stopped in front of a building. It was kind of a storefront thing, and then at some kind of a church. And the rest of the guys went on ahead, and I stepped in the door, in the entrance, and he said, I heard those people singing. And he said, I felt something then that I had never forgotten. And he said, about 3 or 4 years ago, I developed a serious case of sugar diabetes. And he said, I eventually went blind. And he said, for the last several months, I've been sitting in the swing, in the backyard, praying and asking God if I could just go to church somewhere, someplace, and feel what I felt when I was a teenager back in Arkansas. And he said, preacher, he said, I felt it today. He said, I want the Holy Ghost. And then Sammy helped him. He came up to the front about right here and put his hands up. In about 5, maybe not even 10 minutes, he was speaking in other tongues. As the Spirit of God came and filled him with the Holy Ghost. That Sunday night he was baptized, and Brother Holston lived faithfully for the Lord until he passed away. There's hurting and lost souls out there. And everybody can be used of God, even a Sammy. Everyone can be involved when we work together. When we work together to see the dream fulfilled. There should be no challenge too big to deter us. Hell does not have enough power to prevail against the church. Nothing is impossible when the people are one. And I believe with all of my heart that there are great things that are going to happen here in this church and in this city. Hurting and lost souls are going to be reached. And in my mind, I close my eyes and I see this auditorium filled with people of all ages worshiping God. So if it's 3 or 30 or 300, let us work together, pray together, worship together, fellowship together, laugh together, cry together, dream together, talk together, run together, suffer together, stand together through every trial and every challenge. Rejoice together and build the church together. And gather the harvest and let us go to heaven together. So the question is, who is willing to make this kind of a commitment? Who's willing to get involved? Who's going to join with the pastor and his family to see it accomplished? I've just come to say something really basic and very, very simplistic. I've just come to tell you, together, you're a powerful force. So don't be afraid to dream a big dream, because nothing shall be restrained from you when the people are one. Nothing shall be restrained from you when the people are one. So Pastor and Sister Myers, lead the people together and help them understand how important it is to work together as one. God bless you, and thank you for listening to my rambling. And I appreciate so much the opportunity to be here. And I echo what Sister Rodenbush said. This would never have happened if Pastor Linder hadn't taken a special interest in Brother and Sister Myers. God bless you, and thank you so much.